Okay, hi. Welcome to No Such Thing as Normal. This is the first podcast with Natalie Hayes and Jess McKeown.
It's a totally casual podcast where we're going to talk about the things that you're not supposed to talk about in order to help you normalize real life. Because we're really just a bunch of weirdos having a unique human experience in a society that asks us to pretend like we're not.
I am Natalie. I'm a trauma informed intuitive mindset and manifestation coach, and I help people heal themselves from their past traumas and fears, remove subconscious blocks, and manifest the life of their dreams.
Ooh. And I am Jess McKeown, a spirit baby medium who facilitates deep soul healings by channeling divine messages and aligned guidance for parents in all parts of their journeys. And I'm really committed to creating a welcoming home for the next generation of light workers who are coming in. Woo woo.
Woo, woo, woo. This is the first episode, but you can follow us on Instagram at No Such Thing as Normal Pod. You can also subscribe where you listen to podcasts, and then we are going to be uploading unedited episodes on YouTube, so you can see just how weird we are.
I can't wait.
I love it. This first episode, we're just going to be interviewing each other, kind of setting the stage for what's to come so you know what to expect. So, without further ado, Jess, who are you and what do you do?
Ooh, who am I? I actually have to say this. I had a friend visit and her dad was my English high school teacher.
Mhm.
And he had us do this paper called Who Am I? And I often think about that every time I'm asked this question because it's definitely changed over the time. But like what I would say right now, mostly who I am is a spiritual seeker and I am a spirit baby medium. And I really help connect the spirit baby realm, which is all the babies who are coming into this world, with the parents who want to parent them and raise them and love them. And it's all parts of the journey. So whether you're trying to call them in, whether you're already pregnant with them, whether they're here on earth, or whether they've returned through miscarriage or loss, I can talk to them in all parts of that journey and provide those messages so that you understand the bigger picture of how babies are born.
I love that. It's not just any families, right? What families are you calling in?
The light workers. Yeah.
Yes.
The children that are star seeds, that are crystal children, that are here to really enhance the planet. And I really feel like this generation now, I was just talking to a client about this, like our previous parents and our grandparents, they just picked up things and just passed them on. And I really feel like the people who are here now are like, no, they're stopping things, they're healing generational traumas. You hear that a lot. I feel like we're stopping things and tearing things down so that these new people coming in can really build something beautiful. And we can like sit back and kick back and watch them because we're like, here's it nice and cleared for you.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I feel like I've talked about this before, but like millennials people think are so difficult, and like Gen X I feel like not so much, but if you're closer to the millennial cusp, like millennials came in and were like, what is this? Like, no,
Yeah.
we don't really like it, it
Yeah.
doesn't work for us, that's why we all get participation trophies.
I'm a geriatric millennial.
Yeah,
I
you know,
am
an elder millennial I
an
think is what
elder.
they're called.
Oh, come on, kids.
Yeah, if you remember dinosaurs on TV, you're an elder millennial.
I love all those things. Um, well, who are you and what are you
Oh,
doing here?
who are you? What are you doing here? I am Natalie.
A millennial.
I am a millennial. I guess I could be an elder millennial. I'm kind of in the middle. I'm a mid range. I'm a
Yeah.
middle aged millennial. Um, like I said earlier, I'm an intuitive mindset manifestation coach. Basically, I'm also a nurse. Been a nurse for 9 years and hated every single moment of it, which is
Wow.
kind of taboo to say in the nursing field because it's such like a martyr thing to be a nurse, and I'm like, hate it. But
What a great topic for
I
this
know.
podcast.
I know. I truthfully told like chose nursing. It was a trauma informed decision because like a of all the college that I went to, Stephen F. Austin University in Texas, love it so much. I like on orientation, they were like, this is the hardest major we have, nursing. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. Because I was like, well, I can, so I will. Not because I necessarily liked it. I used to pass out getting shots, and like needles terrify me. Not really, like nobody expected me to be a nurse.
That's
And
so
then
funny that you're like going for the brass ring of like, what's the hardest?
right, what scares me the most? Needles. Let's do that. So and then in high school we went through a really terrible, like troubling financial situation. So I really was searching for something more secure. I moved out at 17. So I picked it off of like my trauma around security and stability, and then also this like weird need to prove myself and do the hardest thing and be good at it. And I hated it the whole time. So
Yeah, and I want to ask you about this because this is what we're going to kind of talk about in this episode and in future episodes. But like, so many people come to me and they don't want to make that wrong decision, right? They don't want to choose nursing when they might end up somewhere else, or they don't want to choose something because like maybe their trauma is helping them to like, or influencing them to choose it. But it's like, you make a choice and then you kind of make the best out of it. And do you think your life would have been so different if you had not chosen nursing and chosen something else?
my like gut reaction, my ego is like, yeah, because I feel like I've been wronged by myself for
Right.
nursing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But realistically, like I have this wealth of knowledge about the human body, and like I feel like it might sound, I don't know, not so great to say, but it gives me credibility in
Hmm.
the like health and wellness sphere. Like I've been a nurse for almost 10 years, worked in a hospital for 11 years. Like I'm comfortable with talking about weird stuff, private parts, bodies, juices. Like I'm just comfortable with it. Yeah. There's there's just no judgment. And I feel like going through nursing really helped me, because when you're having a conversation with someone who's not wearing underwear right in front of you, I mean, there's really no boundary.
There's probably a lot of juices in that scenario. That's all I have to
I
say.
hopefully not, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
But I think that's true. I think that's true. And I think like for me, it was people pleasing,
Mhm.
right? That was my trauma response. And do would I want to go back and tell myself like not to do that? Kind of. But also going through that journey and realizing that it wasn't working and finding another way was really beneficial for me. And I learned so much in the pain of people pleasing, the realization that I wanted to get out of that and find something new. And then now this new place that will continue, which is finding this sense of self and self love and, making me the most important thing.
Yeah, and we are, I mean, like both you and I are so here for the weird. Like,
Yeah.
but it took a while to get to this place to like be here for the weird. It is still, I'll say, like kind of uncomfortable for me to talk about my personal job in
Hmm.
my professional career as a nurse. Like,
Yeah.
it is still tough for me to show up as that person authentically, because of that aspect of people pleasing, like making sure everybody's comfortable, and not everybody is aware enough or conscious enough that they can, create their reality, that they are creating their reality, and that struggling is a choice. Oh my God, my coworkers hate when I say that.
Well, and the thing is, you deliver your messages so matter of fact, like, you're creating your own reality, right? Like, there's no like sugar coating with Natalie. It's just like, here's the meat and pie. Here's what we're doing, honey. And it's like, oh, okay, yeah. It's like sometimes intense when you haven't ever like experienced that or thought about that in another way. I'm also like that. You know, I keep expecting when I tell people what I do for them to be like, a witch, she's a witch, like a witch. Like I'm just like
What's that
wait,
movie?
I don't know, but I feel like it's from a movie. But it's like
Monty
I feel
Python.
Money Python, yes, yes. Such a classic. But I just feel like, somebody's gonna like call me out or be like, that's not true, or you're a liar, or whatever it is. And it's kind of hard to explain all that I see and experience, but I think what I have is like a tiered approach, right? So like
Mhm.
very close, intimate friends know what I do. As I get further and further out, it's actually interesting. It's like also totally random strangers, I'll tell what I do because there's like
Oh
no
yeah. There's
fear of
no,
that,
yeah.
like, and then kind of this middle, it's always that middle crowd that seems to be the we worry about when we think about like the haters. And it's like, those people aren't even really that important. It's the
No,
loved ones that are close by. And then like, so it's like we worry too much about what those people think. But I think also like I fully don't understand why I'm doing this still and why this is here and why me, why now. I mean, I'm sort of getting it. So I think that's hard because I didn't like choose this path. It chose me.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, technically you did choose it pre-life.
True. But I didn't know that at the time.
I did not know that this is what it was going to be. I think that middle ground of people is, let's just say, different to approach with your authentic self
Okay.
because you like know them well enough to know what their expectations are of you. And
Yeah.
if you're a people pleaser, you're starting to like try to meet those subconsciously. I
Yeah.
know. Versus like our families, they like know us. Like my mom knows I'm weird as shit. Like she loves it. So like that was easy to say to her. Even like with dating a woman, I was like, "Mom, I'm dating a woman." She was like, "All right." Um, and then like total strangers, yeah, there's no expectation there, so you can be like, "Yeah, I'm a witch.
I'm a witch. Yes.
I'm a witch. That's what I do." um, but that middle ground of people, like acquaintances, people you like kind of know who kind of know you, or maybe know
Yeah.
where you live. It's hard to, or not hard. I'm not going to curse myself. It's not hard. It's just
Yeah.
maybe a
Ooh.
challenge
I love that
to.
you said I'm not going to curse myself.
I don't like to curse myself with words. I'm not going to say that it's hard. It's not hard as a choice. So
Yeah.
it is. It might be a little bit more of an opportunity to show up as your authentic self with those kind of people. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, that's my goal. Right. And I think I just posted on Instagram about this, but I went to my optometrist and she's like, "Oh, are you still teaching yoga?" And I was like, "Uh-huh." Because
Sure.
does she need to know that I'm a spirit baby medium? But then I really did have this insight of like, but like if she was cool and she would go there with me, like maybe she could talk about the brain and the eyes and seeing things in the third eye, but we didn't have a lot of time. She had to get my contacts.
Didn't want to
So I
open that.
just said yes. But it actually did make me think, which I'm kind of curious about this, if there's any like health effects from channeling on my body. I set myself up to be a clear hollow bone, but when you're running a lot of energy through your body, it's definitely got to be affected. And I used to do this. I had an Apple Watch and I would like show my number before a session of channeling and then I would show it after and like I would have all these burned calories. it's
That's
it's the new
wild.
way, people. Just
That's the new
channel
way.
your
Just
way
become a
to
medium. Being a witch burns calories.
it does.
I think. Okay, do you want me to tell you? You will not experience a physical manifestation of channeling unless it is also a lesson you're meant to learn.
Ooh, did you just channel that?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still like stepping into mediumship. So like,
Yeah.
but I've always heard that
Whew.
like physical mediums are called physical mediums because they experience like the heart attack that someone died from and it can leave like, I don't know, elevated troponins or something in your own system. But I think you would, based off the law of attraction, you wouldn't be experiencing that if it wasn't something you were also meant to experience because you're calling it in, you know?
Yeah, well, and that's a good point because I was experiencing this early on when I
Mm.
didn't have any roles and I would talk to ghosts. Don't ever ask a ghost unless you really want to know how they died because some ghost will show you.
Please don't.
Yeah. And so this little boy I was talking to, it was sort of tragic, but he was drowned, like face pushed down into water, drown. And so if you ever feel water in the non-physical space, it's a very weird feeling, right?
Mhm.
Because you know it's water, but you're not wet and you're not in
Mhm.
water, but you're feeling like you're in water. And I had a couple of those and I had clients who had like really bad abuse stories and I would see the abuse. And then I have been learning like, oh, you don't have to experience those things. And so me experience that intensity and not liking it was my learning to be like, can I just get a little sign that says abuse when I look at their timeline? And the spirit was like, sure, just had to ask. And I was like, great, because I don't need to feel
I don't want to.
abuse, heart attacks, any of the scary, dark stuff. No, thank you. I can
No.
empathize quite well
Without
without
like
it.
validating your like receiving the truth confirmation through like a physical symptom. Yeah, a lot of people
Yeah.
attach themselves to like that physical validation, which is I feel like why they experience it.
But I
You can
will,
choose.
yes, I will do a lot of like movements and clearing of energy. And I don't mind that stuff. I just don't want to see and feel the really
No, thank
heavy,
you.
dark stuff. No, thank you.
Yes. No, thank you.
So it seems like we're BFFs already. But how did we meet, Natalie?
Jess, we met by happenstance.
Oh, I love that word.
I joined this collective called Three Moon Collective. It's wonderful. They connect wellness seekers with wellness practitioners. It's really cool. And I was recommended, I think, to the Sage Sisters podcast, or they found me, Megan and Haley, and reached out to me, asked if I wanted to be on. And I said, yes, of course. And when I went on their podcast, I had actually just had a miscarriage like the week prior.
Wow.
And Haley was saying that she knew the spirit baby medium, and guys were like BFFs. And I was like, yes, that's an immediate yes. I like got off the podcast interview and immediately went to your website and booked a session and surprised you with my wife. I don't think you expected like both of us to show up, but it was our anniversary. It was our 4-year wedding anniversary. So I was like, I'm just going to get us a gift. Let's like talk to this spirit baby that decided to go back to spirit. So
I didn't know the backstory of that. That's so sweet that it was your anniversay. And I did know about the baby, but yes, that is really cool. And I think you and I then did some work together because Megan and Haley also said like your psyche work is amazing and clearing stuff out. And I was like, I want to clear some shit. And had some really profound shifts with you. And then I think we found out like we're both human design projectors. And I'm a mental projector. What are you?
Oh, I'm I was gonna say G-spot. That's not it. It's like the G center. That's not it.
No, that's it. That's it. It's a new design.
I'm a G-spot projector.
Sexual magic creators.
It's a little bit hard to get to, but
why would they make the G-spot so hard to get to? Yeah, person who knows. Look at me. I'm like person who knows about the body. Why did they hide it all the way up there? A little bit closer next time, God.
I feel like it's a common misconception that there's only one also. But
the G-spots. That's a new band.
The G-spots. Oh my God, I can't wait. Yes. Oh, I bet they're
it's just like orgasm set to
lesbian
music.
Band. Yeah. Oh yes.
Oh my God. I'm dying.
Center. G center.
Okay.
I have like a self-projected authority. I'm supposed to like talk about things to figure it out. So
is that why you wanted to start a podcast?
Yeah. Oh, okay. The next question.
Yes.
Yes. Why did you want to start a podcast, Jess?
Because my friend Natalie said, hey, do you want to start a podcast? And I've never met somebody who I just connected with so easily and so quickly. And it always felt so good. And I always got resonating yeses with you. And I think that, I'm a former media girl. I've done some podcasts before. I love to talk. I love to promote. I love to share stuff. And we have a really big message about this idea of normal. And what we were talking about kind of as we were preparing for the show was like, the word normal is like hot right now because we're coming out of this pandemic and we're coming back into this integration period and everybody wants to go back to normal. And it's like, well, what is that? Right? Yeah. There really is no such thing as normal. And hopefully you're going to have a new sense of normal or way of living or being after this pandemic that's different than before, we hope. So
yeah.
But I wanted to do it just to connect and to hang out with you.
We talk every week anyway. Recorder. We think we're fabulous and funny, and we thought we'd share it with you.
What about you? What were your wantings to start this podcast? Wantings? I don't know.
My wantings.
Your deepest desires.
As a G-spot projector, I have wanted to start a podcast and I've talked about it lightly for the past couple years. And then I don't know, it just like didn't happen. And do you have the Pattern app? I have the Pattern app.
Mm-mm.
So it's
What's
like
that?
It's related to your astrology chart and just tells you like the cycles that you're going through and like your tendencies.
Okay.
And it's for me, for like my work tendencies or work patterns, I work best collaborating with people. And it just felt so much better to like go into this venture with someone else.
Yeah.
Rather than just me talking into the void. I don't know. That just didn't like feel right. So I wanted to do this. And I definitely wanted to talk about like the weird stuff because I have never felt normal. Like my mom told me, my mom told me growing up that like my grandparents wanted her to like break me because I was too not wild, assertive. And she was like, I will never break her spirit. And I have always been weird. I started a riot in kindergarten. I got suspended from 6th grade. I like, I just
Future
so
episodes, people. We're not
weird.
going to tell you all of the good stuff now, but the riot kindergarten is coming.
I got kicked out of preschool, like my mom's Catholic preschool,
Yeah, you
because
did.
I kicked the nun. Like I have just I've always been weird. I've always been strange. I've never really fit in. I'm not one of those people that was like, I am in a sorority with 1,700 friends. I have like 3 best friends, and like they are also weird and appreciate my weird. So I don't know. I wanted to just reach out to other weirdos and let them know that like it's okay to only have 3 friends as an adult.
I love that.
Like,
Well, okay, so it's funny because my mom literally used this phrase with me all the time. She'd say, "We know why you're weird, me, because I'm weird," my mom. Right.
yes.
But she goes, "But we don't know why I'm weird," my mom. Right. So she doesn't know why, because I guess my grandma wasn't weird. But here's the thing, my grandma was weird. She was just like super
Contained.
like contained. She was the wife of a farmer in Australia.
Mhm.
Like, you know, she had no time for like magic and shit. She had to like milk cows and like feed her kids and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And so then my mom got a little bit more opportunity to be weird and pass that on to me. I have a lot of opportunity to be weird and will definitely pass that on to my kids, who will be 100% weird from the get-go.
Oh my God, so weird. Like you channeling our spirit baby and saying they always show up in cowboy boots when like I don't live in Texas anymore. Jenna's not from Texas. I just love it. They're gonna be so weird.
And like when I see your baby, they have like a whole row of cowboy boots in
Of
every
course.
color and shape and size and
I do as well.
everything.
Because
really,
I do.
I love that. I think it's so cool how our kids want to be like us in a way, but duh, that's why they kind of choose us. They
Right.
like who we are and want to like be in that soup, you know?
Yeah, I'm so excited for them that they get to like be a little bit less conditioned weird because they're coming through us after we've accepted our own weird and are not going to be like putting that conditioning or programming on them.
Yeah.
Go them.
Yeah. Fly your freak flag. Be
It's going to
weird.
be so high. It's going to
We
be.
need a freak flag. We need like
Yeah.
a rainbow flag. We have the American flag. We have all these flags. Like, what would a freak flag be like?
It would just say here for the weird. It would be out. Like it would be big. We're going to put it in the merch store one day.
You guys, we have thought about so many fun things, from merch to having other people on this podcast to talking about all kinds of weird things. But we wanted to kind of give you a little bit of like an idea of like what we think these episodes are going to be like. So I'm curious, Natalie, like what are we going to give the listeners on this awesome podcast?
Yes, I want the listeners, let me tell you what I want you to do. No, I want them to feel more included.
Yes.
And I also feel like you and I have a very unique and different perspective about things. So I want to be able to shed light or different perspectives or mindset shifts on like taboo subjects, like if they come up. I'm not always going to be talking about like death and sex. Like we're probably not always going to be talking. I mean, we might, but
Kindergarten riots will be a
kindergarten
topic.
riots. Yeah.
Kicking nuns, you know,
Yeah.
totally normal.
All future content ideas. But I just want to be able to like make light in a world where we are so polarized and so disconnected right now. And I want that like that connection. I want you to like feel these episodes in a weird part of your soul, like, and it just really resonates with you and you're like, yes, I am weird and it is okay. Like I want to be able to normalize your unique experience in life because there is no right or wrong way to do it. Like right or wrong doesn't actually exist. It's just things we've been conditioned to believe.
What?
Oh, shock, spoiler alert.
I know. And when we remove the right and wrong, good and bad polarity, we can come back into one consciousness. Like that person that you think is weird, there's a weirdness in you that's resonating with that, you know, like pay attention to that. The things that are make you uncomfortable, that whatever, like everybody is here acting as a mirror, showing and pointing to things within us for us to learn, grow, heal. And so we also want, as we tell these stories, for you to like reflect and to look into how your own experiences have influenced who you are, right? And your own not normal things, and how like really they are totally normal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And if anything that we talk about triggers you as a listener, that is just a sign. Like if you have, and by trigger, I mean, some people don't know what trigger means, but trigger is when
Yeah.
you have an emotional response or reaction to something that someone else says. If you have an emotional response to something that we say, it is about you. This is something to look at. Why am I feeling this way? What is it bringing up in me? If I am judging them for talking about something, then there is a part of me that judges myself for that. You know, like, so I want these to not necessarily be, I want you to be triggered, but I want you to like become aware of your own conditioning through these emotional responses. Like do a little self-investigation because that's all we're going to be doing on this podcast.
Yeah. And I mean, I've been doing a lot of thinking about triggers and traumas and everything. And I would invite you to be triggered.
Yeah.
Like instead of a trigger warning, which allows you to bypass that. And I get that if you don't want to be triggered and don't want to feel those emotions, but I've just started calling it a trigger invitation.
Yeah,
Because
it's an
here's the thing,
opportunity.
if you want to read about a miscarriage story and you're ready to feel those feelings, please come in. I invite you in. I don't want to warn you. Trigger warning, I feel like is just a bad negative connotation of triggers. Triggers are so beautiful. They like ping, 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 all these emotional experiences in us. And what's shitty is that we're like too busy or like in the middle of a meeting and we can't like process those feelings. But if somebody were just to like break down in an office meeting, God, how glorious would that be? Just to see somebody feel their feelings, right? But it's like a
Oh.
wolf pack and you can't do it and you have to hide in the bathroom like I did and
Mhm.
cry. Oh, many times I've cried in work bathrooms, but
Yeah.
it's like we will want people to just feel their feelings. And you guys, if you feel them and you process them, you're not going to be as triggered again and again and again. It will soften that.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll start like just I heard something somewhere that said, I could be making this up, but I don't think I am. That feelings, if you actually allow yourself to feel it, only last like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I think you told me that. And I've really
Yeah.
been sitting with that and just like, I will notice too, like my husband said something to me and I was immediately triggered and I got like really quiet and like didn't respond to him. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why am I feeling this? And then I'm like looking at it and I'm like, okay, what he said was just a very basic statement, and like the amount of extra stuff that I put in that very plain statement, I was like, holy cow. And before I would have just instantly reacted like, oh my God, how dare he say that to me? Blah, 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 and get all upset. Now I'm able to be like, oh, how curious. What is that bringing up for me? And then my eventual goal is to be able to like respond in a sooner, quicker way, even if it's just like, wow, that really triggered me. And I just got to sit with that. Because I think also people feel bad when they like trigger somebody, but again, it's an invitation. I mean, there's purposeful mean. I always discount that, right? We don't want to be like purposely mean, hurtful kind of a thing. But when you just are being a natural interaction with somebody and they say something, yeah,
Yeah.
take the time to look at it because it is so curious because it's like for me like now it's like a gift into my world and my psyche and my sort of understanding of things and what's bothering me and I can do the work to clear that, which is so empowering.
Yes. And that is so beautifully said. That is the difference between a victim mindset and a creator mindset.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
We know victims are easier to control. Why is this happening to me? I live in a fear based world in my head because everything is in your head. Versus a creator, which is empowering, and you realize that, like, I am the creator of my reality. I am experiencing this because I'm calling it in, because it's good for me, because I need to face it. Like, that's the difference from freeing yourself, is literally switching from, why are you doing this to me, to, why is this affecting me?
Yes. And I think as I think about everything that's going on in our world too, we have to remember that also people have like other people's hands on their scale
Mm-hmm.
and are being like affected by policies, procedures, systemic things that really kind of throw them off course, or they're trying to be their true selves and trying to do this, but there's just so much stuff on there. And what I realized is, okay, so then if these people who are experiencing this really shitty experience right now, Black men in America, let's just say,
Mm.
and they're calling in this experience. And, we think about it in that way. Cause I'm a white woman living in Seattle area. I'm pretty privileged, like I can manifest and crystal all day. But when I really think about this work on a bigger scale, and if I were to say this to a person of color and just manifest your way, or just think this way, when I think about it in that scale, it's like, it's more challenging because there's heavier things that they have to move and lift up. And so my guides were like, y'all need to help them move that shit.
Yeah.
They chose a very challenging time to come in and a pathway to come in. And you being of this white body, like clear some shit off the scales for them, like stand up and make a riot and do those kind of things, because then we can all start to live and be free. But there's a lot of us that don't get to experience the full capacity of ourselves because of the world we live in.
Right. I know. We're going to talk about this so much, and I'm so excited for moving forward. Where do you see us going with this podcast?
To the moon. I feel like we just love chatting, and we have, like you said, unique experiences. But I think it would be fun to bring on some of our friends, people we know who have also experienced weird things, and love to hear their perspectives of it. I think we would love to answer your questions, listener land. Hello. Because tell us what you have experienced in your life and what you think is normal or not normal, or what have you struggled with, or, tell us about your celebration of weirdness. Like, we want to talk about those things, or ask us if having 3 friends is normal. It is. That kind of stuff. I have 4, so I'm above normal. One of them is myself. And then we also, because Natalie and I both channel, we'd love to channel. We'd love to channel our guides. We'd love to channel the beings that are up there. And I think that's part of the weird stuff that we'll get to talk to. What is that face? The bees? You don't like that?
The bees.
Oh, the bees. No,
like kidney beans, like black beans.
This is from the G-spot person, so just pay attention here.
All of these beings above you. We're gonna talk to
the
them.
Human beings, the beings. What do we call them? Entities? That sounds weird.
ETs.
Okay, we'll call them the ETs. So these are like ascended light masters. These are spirits. These are animals. Everybody who exists and lives in the non-ordinary world. So if we can see things, this is the ordinary world. The non-ordinary world is things that we can't see, but we can definitely sense.
Yes. I'm so excited to talk about ETs. That's been like a recent contact experience for me this year, I guess you could say. Like stepping more into mediumship and working with my personal ET guides has been so fun. I see this going to maybe like in-person meetups, maybe some online meetups, maybe retreats. We definitely want to build some kind of community around this, because I think that's what we need so badly right now, is just a community of like-minded or not like-minded weird souls. Like, let's just all commune and be weird. I'm so excited.
I'm sure there are other little Natalies and Jesses out there having convos over coffee, and we're like, just come have them with us, because we want to like celebrate your weirdness. And I think for me, going back to a previous question, but like how we met, but also just having somebody to talk to this stuff about that doesn't think it's weird, or that doesn't like crunch their nose up at it. Even if I would say you haven't experienced exactly what I've experienced, you can understand it because you understand this other realm. And so there's just so many cool things out there, and I'm blown away every day by the things that I see and experience. So I'm sure you guys are too.
Yeah, we're going to also, like, I'm so excited to talk about our experiences moving forward, because I feel like you're already, if you're not already, you are working with your guides, you are working with spirit, you're already like channeling intuitive hits. You just might not realize that, like, that's what it is. You're already tapped in, you already have these gifts, these beings are already around you. And we want to make it a safe space for you to show up as yourself and communicate with them, communicate with your higher self, communicate with your guides. Like, these gifts that Jess and I have are not anything you don't have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so fun. It's like having a council of people who love and adore you and want only the best for you. And they just give you like really great advice, and you can check in, and it's a relationship. I've been working with a couple of people, and they're like, well, how do I talk to my guides? And I was like, well, how would you talk with anybody. How would you talk
Yeah.
with a friend? You know, you make a friend date, you have some coffee, you like sit and channel. And I think people don't realize that what we've been doing this for a long time. So like when I do a conversation, like my guides are right here
Mhm.
and they're listening in and they'll chime in like chatty Cathy's that they are. But like that doesn't always happen right away, you know. And
Mhm.
this person was asking me, they're like, how did you do that? And I was like, I don't know. Like I
How did I
didn't
do
do
that?
a formal process. I didn't do a training. I just had my gifts cracked open. And then I was like, what do I do with this shit? You know, how do I, it was really like, how do I not feel crazy?
Yeah.
And how do I ground myself into what it is I'm actually seeing and experiencing? And a lot of that was like, do you see this? Do you experience that? Do
Mhm.
you talk to trees? Okay, cool, cool. Okay. Me too. Me too.
Me too. Same, same. I'm a witch.
But I remember like driving home from a shamanic class, and you know, after those like long full day sessions of any type of training, you're like so in tuned and buzzed up. And I was driving down and there's all these like trees along the freeway and they were like, hi Jessica, and I'm just like, holy fucking shit. One, why have I never noticed these trees before? But it was so funny. I was like, I am not making this up. These
No.
trees are like waving and saying hi to me. Where is this coming from? And I just had to accept that. I'm like, it's the trees saying hi to me. Okay, cool.
It is what it is. See, I feel like I'm on the other end of the spectrum. Like I don't remember having these gifts as a kid,
Mm.
even though they've like come so naturally to me now as I've been like intentionally and consciously opening them up.
Mm-hmm.
They were always there. Like you and I actually have a similar astrology chart, which is interesting that I like didn't experience this growing up. That I remember. Could be
Mm-hmm.
surprised. But
Yeah.
uh I feel like I am just now stepping into and being comfortable with my mediumship abilities. It was not something. So just because you at home
Mm-hmm.
didn't experience these things or ghosts or imaginary friends when you were growing up does not mean that you are not a medium.
It's true. Like
Surprise.
when I was like coming out into this space a bit more, of course I was like researching all these other people. And a lot of people were like, oh, I've been seeing ghosts since I was 4. And I was like, man, that's not me. And
Yeah.
I'm not special enough and I'm not weird enough. And why isn't my story like that? Right. Compare, compare, compare. And then as I started thinking, I was like, hold up. I was actually doing all this stuff. It's just that there was nobody around there to like validate me or talk, or, you know, when I would talk to my parents, they'd just be like, oh, you have such a creative imagination. So I was like,
Yes.
cool. Okay.
Same.
And so, and I think I can remember kind of shutting it down a bit. And then this cracking open kind of happened. So we probably, I mean, even when I was a people pleaser, I would have these knowings, right? Like
Mhm.
I would just sort of know what to say or know what to do. And I just thought I was a cool and person. I just thought I was like really in touch with like people and my skills and my communication. But and I am and I
You
was,
are.
but there was an extra sort of effort, a sort of wind at my back, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, what like how did you what was like your first like start of like, okay, I'm gonna like look into this or I'm gonna open this up or I'm gonna take this training?
I um so I was like I did the American Dream. I did that. It wasn't
Okay.
fun. I don't
Oh
recommend
yeah.
it. I went to college, got my MRS
Yeah.
degree, got married 2 weeks out of college, like right before I turned 22. Married to a man, did the full, he had a normal job, normal. I
Yeah.
worked, night shift in the hospital in the ICU, and I did that for a couple years, and I was like, this blows. Like, I am like not happy. I dyed my hair blonde. I went in on the a normal American dream.
Yeah. Even blonde. Yeah.
Yes, full blonde, big hair. In fact, that's the only thing I cried about on my wedding day was that my hair was too big.
Did you get married in Texas?
I did.
I
I did
mean,
get married in
nothing's too
Texas.
big in Texas, right?
It was too big for me. But I did that. I did the normal, did the right
Yeah.
thing, and I hated it. I was like, this sucks. This is not exciting. And then, lo and behold, in walks Jenna into my life and coincided with when my marriage was falling apart. So
Yeah.
got a divorce, got together with Jenna. Jenna grew up in a haunted house. I don't know, it was just like everything was suddenly acceptable. Like
Yeah.
dating a woman and then marrying a woman, and like our whole life together has been so beautiful and like spiritual. Our
Mm.
first house that we bought was haunted,
Yeah.
obviously because we could clear it. Like we wouldn't have bought a haunted house if it wasn't serving us in
Ooh.
some way. But that was really where I stepped into all this. Was like we moved into a haunted house. He was a serial killer, and then I worked with an intuitive, and then I was like, I want to do that. I don't want to be a nurse anymore. I want to do what she does.
Why? What was it about that like lit you up?
It just seems so fun. I don't know. And then, like right after Jen and I got together, my older brother passed away. He died of a fentanyl overdose. And I don't just always been into like the spirit realm. And like it was really sad and tragic when he passed. But like I can also feel him. I'm like looking at his picture. I can also feel him around me still.
Yeah.
And like I said, I feel like I've always had these capabilities. I just wasn't tapping into them. And then all of a sudden, me choosing to pursue a relationship with a woman, me choosing to buy a haunted house, me choosing to work with an intuitive, like opened up these channels, like the stars aligned, and I was able to tap into it.
Yeah, that's really cool. And for me, it was like yoga, right? Like I was stressed out at my job and I was like leaving on my lunch hour to go to yoga. You guys, I would like come back like sweaty at like 1:30, like so late. I was just like, fire me. And I would like, I would like hold like folders, sweating with my hair up and be like, that was a long meeting to nobody. Cause I was like totally trying to cover my tracks, but I was so stressed. And as I did that, but I did my yoga and I went and got my teacher training. Like that was like my first entry into like, oh, there's different parts of like the mind and the brain and you can quiet things. And like when you do, you can access things. So that really helped me to get there. But it's kind of funny how people find this stuff. It's kind of random or happenstance.
As they say. It will find you, or you will find it when you're ready for it. Like that's it.
Yes, because like we put things on our timelines at certain areas or points, and that like, if we miss it, moves, or there's other options, like we hook ourselves up, so to speak. We don't want to miss things. But like I've had certain things where it's just like things will open up and activate, and it feels very like, whew, like where did that come from? But it's like you've passed a gate or you've hit a certain marker, and then it'll just kind of flood in. So sometimes it can be like a 0 to 60, like it was for me.
Yeah, when you hit your checkpoints, like in what is it, like Mario Kart?
I mean, that's what it looks like when I see people's like timelines. Like when we did that timeline meditation, like it's all black and kind of like I put some stars in, I guess. And there's like chords. It looks kind of like a guitar chord. There's like lots of different paths and things light up. And I'm very visual, and I'm very grateful for that, because it is really fun to visualize the non-ordinary world. But it's fun to see the timelines. And I started seeing more and more of those. And that's the thing. Like I just see things, or spirit shows me things, and then I see things again and again and again. I'm like, oh, so people have like timelines, right? I'm like, so now I go in when somebody says something and I say, well, let me see their timeline. And then that'll call it up, and I can like, it's totally like the Minority Report. I like move it and I can see like, oh, this is like this long on your timeline. Like, oh, this is going to be a long thing. Or, oh, it's just short, just a little boop on your timeline. Boop. And you're done.
I do want to dedicate like a whole episode to talking about timelines, because I feel like there's so much we could say about it, since like time doesn't really exist. So I do want to like, let's put that in a box over here. Okay. Because like we're gonna have a whole episode on timelines. I'm fucking stoked about it. Can we cuss on the podcast?
I think we can cuss.
Okay, tastefully.
Yeah. It's like it says you're more intellectual if you do.
Oh well, yeah, obviously
we are. So
okay. I think that's where we're going moving forward. That's what we want for this podcast. It's why we started this podcast. A little bit about us and our weird. And then we also want to incorporate these like weekly check-in questions for each of us, and also ask yourself these questions for a little self-investigation, self-reflection.
That's so Jess, you, Natalie. I love that.
I love it so much.
Natalie like gives homework. I don't, but I love that she gives homework. And you do this too, listener land.
Yeah, you do this too. Jess, what is one thing you have learned about yourself this week, and what are you intention setting for on this Cancer new moon?
Okay, what is one thing I've learned about myself this week? I've just learned, like, I'm on my day 3 of my cycle, and I've just learned that like I need a different protocol when I'm on my cycle. Like I need to change my life and little comforts and little things around it to really support my first couple of days of my cycle. And I've been working with my cycle. I used to hate her. Now I'm liking her. And now I'm actually seeing like how can I really incorporate this? How can I really love this? How can I really like, really embrace this even more? And check this out. One of my friends and clients, she has a cycle bracelet, and it's made out of like peach moonstones and opalite, and there's like little charms on it. And she kind of like uses it to like track where she is. Like I think she moves a little like thing around it, and I'm like, that's so cool. Like, why don't I have something like that? Or why don't I, like celebrate my cycle even more? So I've just really learned that like, I just need more love. I need a hot water bottle heater thing too, like one of those things like on my belly. Yeah, and just like I want to take even better care of myself, because I like will often like be thinking, I'm like, I am bleeding from within. Okay. I am shedding lining. Okay. And I am alive, and I am doing this, and I am fucking powerful, and get out of my way, and rah.
Yeah.
So it just feels really good. And I want to like embrace that, especially as like trying to get pregnant and working through, when you get your cycle, it's usually like a kind of thing. I really didn't want to have that feeling around her. So I want to do some artwork with my blood. I mean, let's do it. I want to put it on my face.
Stop.
Come on. Let's be weird. Is that okay? Is that healthy? Tell me, nurse.
I think it's probably healthy. I'm not really sure if they've done studies.
I'm going to trust it.
But you do you. Whatever feels right is right for you.
Thank you. And what was the second question?
What are you intending? Like, are you setting an intention with this full moon or this new moon? Or are you not?
Yes. Okay. So the full moon is January 17th, 2022 for the Cancer, right? So if we plant seeds now, it'll be in next year. And because it's about home and family, like really what I want to do is like, I want a cute home. Like your home is so cute, and it's like put together. And I'm like, when you show like pictures and people are like, I want to see your home. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, it's not cute. Because I have like furniture from like when I lived in San Francisco, stuff from college. We used to have a big house in Ohio. So I have this like huge coffee table and this huge couch and this like tiny little condo. So like nothing, everything's like piecemeal and this and that. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm going to like just intend and make a really beautiful home for me, because it's like I spend a lot of time here, I like to relax, and I'm thinking about that a lot. So that's my intention, is by January of next year I'll have like at least some kind of put together something, a bed, a new couch, just like a feeling, a vibe, a style. I guess that's my goal.
I love that. That'll be so like nurturing for you to like, I don't know,
right?
Get down in your space and make it pretty for yourself. I love that.
Thank you. What about so you? Cancer-y. It is, right? What have you learned about yourself this week?
This week, I have learned that I am different.
Wait, I love that it like starts with laughter. I'm like, where's this going?
I talk really fast, but I have even faster conversations in my head before I say something. So like I was just feeling out like reading this conversation in my head before I said it out loud.
You were like laughing at your own jokes. I love it.
Essentially. I have learned about myself that I'm weird this week, and that like, why would I try to follow what somebody else is doing for their like social media strategy when like I am weird. I don't like, I can only post twice a week. Like, let me tell you the pressure of posting 5 to 7 times a week to appease this algorithm or whatever. When I preach, I had a business course, I'm launching it as an e-course, that like intention is greater than any algorithms. Like only share when you feel intentional about it. And so far I did that this week. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I am going to work behind the scenes on these courses. I'm not going to worry about showing up every second, every breath I take on social media, because like that works for some people, but for me, that's not enough. That's not a good enough balance for my life. Right. Yeah. So I learned this week to just like be weird with my strategy. Why does it have to be consistent? Why do I have to be consistent? Why don't I just place intention over everything? And that's been feeling really good this week.
I love that.
And then what am I planting?
Yeah. What are you planting?
What am I planting?
What beans are you planting?
My beans. It was this time last year that Jenna and I decided to try to get pregnant. Obviously cancer season, like the mother. And then we got pregnant, like in August. So I think I'm starting a 6-month cycle of like preparing for that again.
Beautiful.
Yeah. I don't feel like we're going to try to conceive. It's so expensive for same-sex couples, but I don't feel like we're going to try to conceive in the next like 3 months or so. Like I think we're going to wait a little bit and like keep sowing our oats and like getting my business really sustainable. I'm in that transition phase. So like this next 6 months is like really preparing for that.
I love that. And it's like on all the layers, right? It's the
Yeah.
mental, the physical, the emotional, right? Like getting yourself financially set up so that you can really just enjoy this little babe that comes in with their cowboy boots.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait to pet their little head. Okay, and the last question. How have you been connecting or receiving signs from your spirit guides recently?
Ooh.
Like what is one way?
Yeah. Most recently, it's been through other people, which has been really fun. And they'll just ping me or give me little messages, or like yesterday I pinged you and I was like, I'm so excited for this podcast, and you were like, I was just thinking and wondering if you were, and I'm like, that's what will happen. Like I will just like feel this random thing to text you, and it's like, you need to do this. Or like, for example, a client of mine, I actually like hooked up 2 clients, and then they're now in a relationship, and it's a very fun story. But I heard from one of them and they said, are you ordained as a minister? Because I think you might marry us, and I think you might marry other people. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. So I went into the Universal Life Church and I got myself ordained. Yeah. And then I sent this client, which is free, by the way. It's free, but then you have to like pay all this money to get like the official certificate. So it's not really free. Universal Life Church. Okay. Let's just be real.
False advertising.
Exactly. Let's just be honest and open. Okay. And so I sent them a screenshot of my like fake certificate that was like, this is not real, but and they were like, oh my God, I was in acupuncture and I was just thinking about this and this popped up. And I think I signed up like right at the time that person was doing it. So what I'm realizing is like, I'm more connected. And when I feel these little moments of things, I should just do them and like follow them, and like these sort of like, I don't know, like wind kind of things. And I remember when I was sitting with Mama Ayahuasca in ceremony, and I was with the shaman, and it was an all women group, which is really lovely. And I felt this like thing rising up inside of me, and I wanted to say it like so bad. And my fear, I think it was just like a cheer. It was just like, I am beautiful, or I am love, or just something like that, something that I would say. and I just met a lot of these people, and I could feel it rising up in me, and I could hear spirit being like, you need to say this. You need to say this. And I was like, oh my God, like, what if I say it? And like, nobody like responds, it's like, if you want to be like, hey, yeah. And everybody's like, it's like, that's so lame. And so it was this trust of like, just say it. And so I said it, and everybody was like, woo! Yeah! And it was like so incredible, like exactly what I wanted to feel when I said something like that. So it's this feeling of like, you get these little nudges, these little hints, these little trusting moments. And it's just like, just say it. So that's what I've been doing, is like just saying or doing the things that I kind of feel called to do, even if I don't know why at that moment. That exact moment, I was like, I need to like do this thing right now.
And just like taking aligned action on your pings.
Yes.
I love it. And you're getting like the truth confirmations from other people. Like that's really cool. That's really cool.
What about you? How do your guides, I'm so curious, how do your guides like give you signs?
My guides are really funny. They just like as direct as I am, like they're equally as direct with me. So I've been actually working a lot with my guides this week. And it's funny because I texted you earlier this week talking about the course, and like I pulled this card that said call in support. And I was like, Jess, what do you think about me making a course? And you're like, I think you need to talk to your guides. So I've been like working with my guides. I go in the records, and then I like channel this course. It's to help people like grow and strengthen their connection with their intuition. And actually next week, I am creating the module on working with spirit guides. So I'm going to put like a bookmark in this, like to be determined, because I feel like they're going to give me some new ways to work with them. So
yeah. And I think like it's fun too, because when you ask me that question, then I get this image of Natalie, and the image I got was her like hitting all these targets. And it's kind of like, it's like you can do anything you want, but really where do you want to like drive that energy and that attention? Like when you're good at everything you do, so hard, Natalie, I'm sure. But when you truly are, when you like, because you have an achiever mindset, right? Because you're like success driven, like, hello, we grabbed the hardest major at your school. Hello.
I can do that.
It's like you start to see that it's like, that can sometimes be like that double-edged sword of like, you could do anything, you could be successful at anything, but you're kind of spreading your energy out. So it's like, where do you really want to go and find that? And I think like we're both still kind of navigating that deeper niche. You say niche?
I say niche.
I like niche better too. Okay, it's agreed upon.
Yes.
But like you find your niche, which is really just the people that you really want to serve. And for me, like it started really broad, and now I'm coming down even more so to work with the parents of light workers, which is an even further specification, because I like those people. They're so much fun to talk to, right? And like same thing with you, like as you embrace your weirdness, you're wanting to create more courses and places for people to explore that. And you're really good at like greeting people when they first wake up, when they're like, oh, hi, what am I doing here? And like you see Natalie's face and she's like, hi,
you're fine.
Come here. We're just going to walk you through. And it's really lovely because like we didn't have that. I didn't have anybody to walk me through the beginnings. And part of our responsibility as light workers is to like help those coming up and help those coming through, which is why I think so many people are creating courses and, workshops and masterminds and everything, because these people are waking up and we are the group that needs to create things for them to walk through or to understand, so that it's not hard. Like we don't need to like reinvent the wheel.
It doesn't have to be hard. Yeah, that's limiting.
Yeah. Oh, that's
easy.
Another good
it
one.
Can be fun.
Be easy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think we've come full circle.
That's so exciting. I feel like, should we ring a bell?
I don't have a bell.
And my bell's over there.
We'll get a bell to signify the end of episodes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Hopefully next week, if we don't have any like thing that's coming up for us specifically in our sessions or in our lives, we are going to pull a card, I think.
Yeah.
And just let spirit guide us into the next episode.
That is so freaking fun, because I don't like to plan and do a bunch of stuff.
Nope.
I think it's always more fun to work with the potent energy that is present.
Yes.
And a lot can happen in a week. If you've ever done therapy, good Lord,
Jesus.
A lot can happen in a week.
Yes, a lot can. So until next time, thank you for listening.
Stay weird.
Stay weird.